There's a specific amount of money that changes how money works. Most people never reach it, not because they can't afford to, not because they don't earn enough, because nobody told them what happens when they do. It's not $1 million. It's not even 10,000. It's a number small enough that you could probably get there in a few months if somebody just explained why it mattered. $1,000. That's it. $1,000 sitting in an account that isn't your checking, not invested, not fancy, just there. And if that sounds too simple to matter, I get it. I used to think the same thing. But here's what I've learned. The first 1,000 isn't about the money. It's about what it does to your brain. Let me show you what I mean. This is Maya, 26, office admin, makes about $55,000 a year before taxes. After rent, after groceries, after her phone bill, after the subscription she keeps meaning to cancel. She has maybe $300 of breathing room each month, some months less. And this is Alex. Same age, same kind of job, almost the exact same paycheck. After his rent, his car payment, food, and the gym membership he actually does use, he's in the same spot. Maybe $350 on a good month. Neither of them comes from money. Neither of them had parents who sat them down and explained compound interest over dinner. They both learned about money the same way most of us did, by running out of it and figuring things out from there. Same starting line, same salary, same city. But one of them is about to make a small, quiet decision, and in 5 years, they're going to be standing in very different places. Not because of talent, not because of luck, because of $1,000. It started on an ordinary Tuesday. Maya's car made a sound. You know the sound. That grinding, metal on metal whisper that you try to ignore for about a week until you can't anymore. She didn't have the money, not really, but she'd been putting $40 a week into a savings account for about 6 months. Not because she had a plan. She'd read something once about having a buffer and thought, okay, I'll try. $40 a week. She didn't even notice it most of the time. When the mechanic said $480, she felt her stomach tighten. But then she opened her savings app, and the number said $1,060. She paid it. It hurt. But she paid it from savings. Not from a credit card, not from a payday lender, not from her mom. Now here's the part nobody talks about. It wasn't the money that changed things, it was the feeling. For the first time in her adult life, an emergency happened. And it was just an inconvenience. Not a crisis, not a spiral, an inconvenience. That feeling rewired something. Alex got the same kind of surprise. Different month, different problem. His landlord hit him with an unexpected fee, $350 for a lease renewal admin charge. The kind of thing that's technically legal but feels like it shouldn't be. Alex didn't have savings. He had a checking account that hovered around $200 by the last week of every month. So he put it on a credit card, told himself he'd pay it off next month. He didn't pay it off next month, because next month had its own problems. They always do, and that's the thing. Alex isn't bad with money. He's not irresponsible. He's not buying things he doesn't need. He's just operating without a buffer. And when you operate without a buffer, every surprise becomes debt. And debt has interest. And interest has weight. And weight slows everything down. The gap between Maya and Alex didn't start with a raise or a side hustle or a stock pick. It started with $40 a week and the patience to leave it alone. 5 years later, Maya still works a similar job. She's had a raise or two, nothing dramatic. But her savings account turned into an emergency fund. That emergency fund gave her the confidence to open a Roth IRA. She put in small amounts, 50 here, 75 there. Nothing that would make the news. Her net worth at 31, about $14,000. That's not retirement money. That's not generational wealth. But it's something she built from zero. And she sleeps differently now. Not better because she's rich. Better because she's not afraid of her phone buzzing with a bill she can't pay. Alex is still earning about the same. He's been carrying credit card debt for 3 years now. Not a huge amount, about $4,000. But at 24% interest, he's paying nearly $1,000 a year just to stay in the same place. Money that goes nowhere. Money that buys nothing. Money that just disappears. He's not failing, but he's running on a treadmill. And the thing about treadmills is they're exhausting and you don't actually go anywhere. The distance between them isn't talent. It isn't discipline. It's about $18,000. And almost all of it traces back to one decision made on an ordinary Tuesday 5 years ago. I want to be careful here, because the point of this story is not that Alex did something wrong. The point is that nobody gave Alex the information at the right time. We don't teach this stuff? Not really. You can graduate from college and know the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, but nobody shows you how a credit card's minimum payment is designed to keep you paying for years. Nobody explains that the difference between saving $40 a week and saving nothing is not $40. It's the psychological shift that $40 creates. When you have nothing saved, your relationship with money is reactive. Something happens. You scramble. You borrow. You stress. And stress makes you spend more, not less, because your brain is looking for relief anywhere it can find it. That's not weakness. That's neuroscience. When you have even a small cushion, your brain shifts from survival mode to planning mode. You make calmer decisions. You stop buying things out of anxiety. You start thinking in weeks and months instead of just getting through Friday. The first $1,000 isn't a financial milestone, it's a psychological one. So how do you actually get there? Let me break it into 3 layers, not because it's complicated, because it helps to see the pieces separately before you put them together. First, earn. And I don't mean earn more, though that's great if you can. I mean, know what you earn. Actually know the number, after taxes, after deductions, the real number that hits your account every 2 weeks. A lot of people can tell you their salary, but not their take home. And you can't build a plan around a number you don't actually have. If your take home is around $3,600 a month, that's your starting point. That's the real number. Everything else flows from there. Second, keep. This is where most people lose the game before it starts. Not because they're spending on luxury, because small, invisible costs add up in ways that are genuinely hard to see when you're in the middle of them. Here's what Maya did. She looked at her bank statement for 1 month, just one, and she found about $140 in things she'd forgotten about or didn't really use. A streaming service she signed up for during a free trial. A delivery app with a monthly pass she barely touched. An insurance add-on she didn't need. She didn't cut everything. She cut the things she genuinely didn't notice were gone. That gave her an extra $35 a week, which she added to the $40 she was already setting aside. $75 a week into savings, that's $300 a month. That's $1,000 in just over 3 months. Not painless, but not painful either, just intentional. Third, grow, but not yet. And this is important. Don't try to invest your way to your first 1,000. Don't put it in crypto. Don't put it in a brokerage account. Put it in a high yield savings account, something boring, something liquid, something you can access tomorrow if your car breaks down. The growth phase comes after the cushion exists. That's when you start thinking about a Roth IRA. That's when compound interest becomes your friend instead of your landlord's friend. But the first 1,000, its only job is to exist, to sit there, to be boring, to be the thing standing between you and a credit card. There's one more piece Maya figured out early. She automated the transfer. Every payday, $40 moved from checking to savings before she could touch it. She didn't decide to save every 2 weeks. The decision was made once and then it just happened. This sounds small. It's not. Because willpower is a terrible saving strategy. You know what happens when you rely on willpower? You save when you feel motivated and you don't when you're tired, stressed, or just had a bad week. And there are a lot of bad weeks. Automation removes the decision, and when you remove the decision, you remove the failure point. The money moves before your brain gets a vote. Maya didn't have more discipline than Alex. She just set up a system that didn't require any. I want to say something to you directly. If you're watching this and you don't have $1,000 saved, that's okay. That doesn't mean you're behind. It means you're in the same position as the majority of Americans. Nearly 60% of adults can't cover an unexpected $1,000 expense without borrowing. That's not a personal failure. That's a systems failure. But knowing that doesn't mean you're stuck. You don't need a raise. You don't need a side hustle. You don't need to understand the stock market. You need a savings account, an automatic transfer, and about 3 months of patience. The first 1,000 is the hardest. Not because the math is hard. Because you're building a habit from nothing. You're rewiring a brain that's been in survival mode for years. You're teaching yourself that future. You deserve protection. And once it's there, once you see that number and know that it's yours and it's real and nobody gave it to you, everything changes. Not because $1,000 is a lot of money, because it's proof that you can do something you didn't think you could. And that proof, that's what builds the next 1,000 and the one after that. Next time, I want to talk about what happens after the first 1,000, because that's when things get interesting. Maya's going to make a decision that most people don't make until their 40s. And Alex, he's going to get a second chance. I'll see you then.